Ah, Team Fortress 2, the game which has stood strong against time's challenges while being neglected by Father Gaben. Here's a fun fact about my friend. His Italian uncle owns a car brand named Bizzarini, and after extensive research, he found out that the car in this picture belongs to the brand, which implies that he and me are technically canon. Sleep well knowing that 1045 Hour Vitality is canon in the Team Fortress 2 universe.
Let us begin!
Firstly, there is a specified timeline for when the events of Team Fortress began, but it isn't shown on the timeline page. We have to go back to the 17th century. In 1880, members of the De Groot family would begin production of De Groot's rum that the Demo Man would be a fan of centuries later. The Demo Man would be born in Scotland, Ullapool to be exact, about 257 years later. In 1788, less than a year after the first settlers colonized Australia, Nicholas Crowder arrived on a boat with some other new settlers and said, "Screw this." He then set course on a one-man voyage to conquer the South Pole. Legend says that he still lives there. In 1808, the company that produces the scrumpy that the Demoman would be a fan of over a century later begins production of their product. The Mann family's backstory begins in the 19th century with the wealthy Englishman Zephaniah Mann. Zephaniah Mann was the owner and proprietor of Mann Sons munitions concerns, which also went by the name of Zephaniah Mann and Sons Co., but is better known by the name of Mann Co. On 2nd of September 1822, Betty, Zephaniah's wife, gave birth to three sons, Redmond, Plutarch, and Gray, but died in childbirth. Though Redmond and Plutarch were perfectly normal, Gray was underweight and had to learn to talk inside the womb. Zephaniah ordered the baby to be smothered, but he was abducted by an eagle during the Great Eagle Scourge of 1822. The remaining Mann brothers grew up without the knowledge of their missing brother. Gray was well cared for by his eagle abductor. He was fed grubs and mice, kept warm under her breast, and accepted by her children. Gray grew up strong under the eagle's care, and when he was strong enough, he killed her and her children and ate them all before crawling back to civilization. Wait, really? Yeah, Gray just decided to kill his eagle mom after growing up. I don't know how he didn't form a bond with the eagle despite being raised by it. Anyways, Elizabeth would be hired as a governess by Zephaniah, who told her to stir up a rivalry between her sons until one of them killed the other, at which point the survivor would inherit the man fortune as a part of family tradition. The year was 1850. The British economy was booming, mass destruction was looming, and Zephaniah bought a large amount of land on the United States by petition of Redmond and Plutarch to expand the munitions business. When he and his sons arrived there, they discovered the gravel pits and dust bowls that he had purchased were useless, and in addition, Zephaniah had contracted numerous illnesses due to the trip made across the world. With his last will and testament, Zephaniah set up the events of the Team Fortress series by leaving half of his useless new land to each of his sons for them to fight over for the rest of their lives as a punishment for their behavior that made him lose a fortune and his life. Oh, and also, Australium is a powerful element found only in Australia, which had caused a nation of unintelligent savages to become extremely intelligent and develop such technological marvels such as teleportation and cloaking techniques. Australia presumably left its status as a British dominion and went on to conquer the rest of the island. 1895, Australia declares war on hills for some reason. Yeah, the Australians really kicking in. The events of Team Fortress Classic began in 1930, but as far as I'm concerned, people care more about the sinking of New Zealand in 1932 with a dome protecting them. But the whole maneuver cost them the entire budget of the country, making New Zealand file for bankruptcy. Judging by the appearance of buildings, it seems that the New Zealanders got their fair share of some Australium. In 1949, Soldier got the news that World War II ended about 4 years ago or so. He stopped his killing spree in Poland after that. In 1960, as Plutarch neared death from old age, he called in an expert craftsman named Radigan Conager to construct for him a machine that would allow him to live on by artificially extending his life. Radigan agreed. During the summer of 1968, 9 individuals, the scout, the soldier, the pyro, the demoman, the heavy weapons guy, the engineer, the medic, the sniper, and the spy, were recruited by Reliable Excavation and Demolition, Red, and Builders League United, Blue, to continue Redmond and Plutarch's never-ending war to seize the land left to them by their deceased father. Seeking to take control of Red and Blue, Greyman sent 2 tear-stained letters to each of his brothers in secret, hoping them to get together with each other. Redmond and Plutarch rented the Alamo and apparently transported to New Mexico for their meeting, guarded by a group of engineers under Redmond's employ. Wow, these guys really do not want to leave New Mexico. After the two shake hands, Gray enters the Alamo, having killed Redmond's engineers, leaving the three alone. He introduces himself to the two as Greyman, their brother, and explains that he sent the letters. Unfortunately, the two appear to be suffering some sort of cognitive disorder, and Plutarch and Redmond apparently forget who Gray is just seconds after he introduces himself. It is noted that Gray appears to be wearing some sort of mechanical device on his spine, possibly of his construction. It is later revealed that this is an improved version of in, of the life extender machines. Oh yeah, I was about to forget. Gray begins to recount the tale of his brother's birth and explains how he was taken care of by an eagle shortly after he spoke with his father. He explains how he was raised by the eagle as one of his own, and how he later killed it along with their children to feed himself. Gray grows tired of their nonsensical responses and kills both Redmond and Plutarch by stabbing them in the back. After years of signs and rumors, Gray makes his move against Mann Co, sending a massive robot army to attack all of the company's facilities 3 days after slaying his brothers. Saxton Hale was too busy wrestling a Yeti to deal with the crisis himself, so he sends a video message to the remaining Red and Blue mercenaries, informing them that with Redmond and Plutarch dead, the gravel war has finally ended and they no longer have jobs. He then immediately rehires the team to defend Mann Co against the robots. The robot war continues for about a year, with the cooperating mercenaries successfully defending hundreds of Mann Co facilities in the Badlands and worldwide. Miss Pauling becomes the active leader of the mercenaries. Soldier emerges as an erstwhile tactical mastermind, devising decoy facilities and infiltrating Gray's Island base using a flimsy disguise. After continuous defeats, Greyman develops a more intelligent mecha engineer, but nevertheless fails in the following assault on Mann Co headquarters. In early 1972, after the mercenaries successfully defend Mann Co against the robot attacks, wary of another intractable stalemate, Gray decides to change his approach. He goes directly to Saxton Hale at the Mann Co's headquarters and declares that the war is over. He gives up. But then, he says that he's there for the Mann Co challenge, offering a fight with Hale for the ownership of the company, a policy Hale made himself. After Hale grabs and punches Gray with ease, Gray declares that he's not the only one who will be fighting, but instead, Gray's daughter named Olivia, an underage girl, will fight Hale. Hale refuses to fight her, ultimately granting Mann Co ownership to Gray, who later sends the mercenaries after him. However, Hale wouldn't go out without a fight and manages to escape, all the while causing severe damage to what was once his property. After this, Gray proceeds to fire the mercenaries for their failure, while the administrator orders Miss Pauling, her assistant, to hide. The mercenaries scatter, but Scout and Spy are later arrested before they can manage to escape to T-Fort. The mercenaries have scattered. Three mercenaries remained in the southwest. Soldier gives guided tours to homes of the stars. Pyro is an engineering company CEO, and Demoman is a drunkard living with his mother. Sniper has gone bush in Australia. Heavy has returned to his family home in Siberia. Medic has some important position and is unreachable. The whereabouts of Engineer or Del Conager are unknown to the rest of the team. Scout would go on to marry three times after suing the city of Teafort for injuries, eventually becoming a single father of four. Saxton Hale became discontent with his role as Mann Co CEO, and Olivia similarly came to hate both being her father's pawn and having to sell guns to idiotic mercenaries. Hale resolves both problems by firing Olivia and resigning, entrusting Mann Co to Mr. Reddy and Mr. Bidwell so he can return to his life of adventure, and Olivia can choose to live however she pleases. And that's about the timeline of the Team Fortress universe. Thank you for watching this interesting video. I sure had lots of fun making this, and I would appreciate if you told me what videos I should make next. Take care and have a nice day.